Ready? It's going.
All right, here we go. Welcome, everybody. I am Dr. Jason Day. And, I've been absolutely blessed. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been talking with some specialists in our area on this conversation and this topic called reset. And you know what? I've talked with a doctor. He's been an MD for over 32 years. I talked with a therapist that's transforming lives in our community, a fitness and nutrition guru. I even talked with a pastor that started his own program to help people with opioid addiction and alcohol addiction. But the conversation we're about to have right now, this is the one I'm most excited for. And I don't want to dilute those conversations I've had earlier in the last couple of weeks. And I'm not just trying to prop up this guy, but I'm here to say that this topic, this conversation, it's not just what I do. It's not just what Dr. Tony and I and we do. It's who we are. Somebody asked me, who is Jason Day? A big part of the answer is what we're going to be talking about over the next 30 minutes. And this is not an occupation, it's a calling. So the amount of passion and energy that we're going to bring to this, it's who we are. And this is a conversation that I've been having with this amazing human being for about 8 years. I had to look it up on Facebook. How long have we been friends? 8 years. And I can attest to about 8 billion texts over those 8 years. Sometimes we're talking about science, but a lot of times we're talking about life. So I know who this man is. I know this passion is authentic. I know that his purpose is to the core. But a lot of people that might be tuning in this video don't know who you are. But know that we're here to talk to parents and we're here to talk to you. But who are you? Who is Dr. Tony Ebel?
Man. To give you the real gusto, which I know your crew always gets, because that's who you are. You don't just share stats and just share science, because those things matter, but it's really the essence of who somebody is. And we're going to take care of kids. Like, we create that connection with the families we are blessed and called to serve. So yes, so I'll go before Facebook to farming, maybe, just to start it out. I'm a farm kid from Iowa, and I only start there because the thing that you end up with, which is such a blessing when you grow up in a small town farm community, is you grow up knowing that community and family and just the health of that community and family. To me, they really mean the same word, is everything. And that starts with our kids. We really just pour our lives into our kids. So that's just what I knew I was going to do. God called me to be a chiropractor. And then shortly after graduation, really made an immediate flip for us to become a pediatric and family chiropractor. And then right after that, gave a full lightning bolt, Jesus brewing, Oliver, perfect storm into that category. So I'll go through that. Yeah, we started, I was going to be a regular chiropractor, grew up in Iowa, married in Illinois, Chicago suburban girl. So moved over here to this side of the river, as I like to say, and we set up our practice. And it was going to be a great, awesome, general, chiro, wellness, sports, everybody. Everybody practice. And we had a beautiful baby girl, our first kiddo. You can kind of see my family picture up there. Our first baby girl, Addison. That pregnancy was beautiful, and it did go according to plan. Kind of the whole birth plan, if you will, kind of like just spit out of the printer and into life. It was like magical. So you get this awesome start where you're like, this is how it works. We'll do this for everyone. Yeah. And then 2 years later, Oliver came out with a different, he didn't follow the printout. He shot out like a rocket, our second baby, Oliver Anthony. And he had a really traumatic birth. And he had, to tell the long story short, he was absolutely a medical miracle. He had surgeries, he had medications, he had all these things that as a chiropractor, I did not want in my life. If I'm just speaking to you parent to parent, I didn't want them, but I was ecstatic to have them in that moment to put the fire. He was a medical reset, Jason, honestly, right? Yeah. And they did that. It was incredible what they were able to do.
But we're not talking about colic. We're not talking about constipation. We're not talking about, he didn't sleep as well. The prognosis we're dealing with is an outcome that parents never want to hear. Yeah. I mean, the reality that you were facing was maybe death. Yes. And at best, what?
Cerebral palsy, autism, epilepsy, the entire mix. Yeah, he had really, they gave him a 20% shot to live past one. It's actually pretty cool. If you take Oliver's name and you center the first 4 letters, it's Live. So he was like, yeah, I'll take your 20% and Bitcoin that, and do it. And so he did, but then their words were, if he does, 99% chance cerebral palsy, epilepsy, and if, right? That's a great wake up word right there. So our words were different. We were ready to take care of his nervous system and do what we had blessed to just be doing for other patients. So that's the finishing touch of who I am, brother man. It's that as a father, it's that as a pediatric chiropractor. I don't see them separate, honestly, which is why we pour into that element for our patients as well. And since that day, we've never looked back.
I personally, I love hearing Oliver's story, and I know that we'll dive into that in a second, but let's set the table for the parents that are watching this video, because there are a lot of parents leaning into this video that didn't get the birth that they wanted. And they're stuck in that downgrade of expectations because, my God, if I had to choose between death and just having something, I'll take that something every single day. And there's a certain guilt and there's a certain frustration when the best thing that we can have is the slightest bit of hope. But my hope for the parents watching this video is that by the end of this, yes, we're going to share some stories, not just about our own kids, but a ton of the kids that we're helping right now. Yes, we're going to share some science and some strategies, but I don't want you to stay stuck in hope, because hope allows things to stay the same. And hope allows us to stay stuck. We're here to give you strategies, action steps, resources to radically shift, not just kind of survive, but radically shift, not just the health of your child, but the trajectory of their life, of your life. And that's why we're here. That's why we're here, not just on this call, but on this planet. That's what fires up Dr. Tony and I every single day. So we had this survival story of Oliver, and I wish we could zoom in on that photo of Oliver right now, because you don't see the prognosis that doctors guaranteed for you. The at best situation that maybe if he bypasses the 80% chance of death, he's not the kid that it was told, but that didn't just happen. Like, something changed. And of course, we want to transit this conversation because he shares a common theme with a lot of kids that we're helping, a brain and a nervous system. Because a lot of times these stories are different, with traumatic brain injury, with birth trauma, with overwhelm. I mean, there's so many different diagnoses we can attach to this story, but they're all rooted in a brain and nervous system. And that's the scientific part. But tell us a little bit more about Oliver and where he's at today.
Yeah, I'll remember as we go through this today, I remember the hallway at Lutheran General, at a NICU, if you've been there, especially if we're reaching you, because you are one of the brain, birth, trauma, really, really, really storm families. I guarantee you've been in these hallways, and maybe you're still having to travel them more than you'd like. But I remember that hallway, Dr. Jason, and it had these awesome stories on it. There was these, it was just picture frames, right? It was like Facebook 11 years ago, right? It was actually on a wall instead of a Facebook wall, right? And it was pictures of these kiddos, and it was their birth story, and then it was the story of them with their challenges and everything they had. And really the take home, I've never thought of it this way until today, Jay, but it was like, make the best of it. I don't know that anybody actually used those words to us, but they were using those words to us. Hey, get ready, accept it, and make the best of it. That would actually be where it was. Accept it and make the best of it. We did not accept it. We weren't roses and unicorns. We did not know where we were. We did not know what we faced, but we didn't give up hope, and we didn't take their recommendation of inaction. Okay, right. We didn't, because that's really what they were saying. Medicine said, hey, we'll get you out of here, and then we got nothing for you. Because they don't, God bless them, they saved my child's life. I didn't ask them to then follow me home and be in charge of reset and restoration. I took over that. Pediatric neurologically chiropractic took over that. So that's really what happened with Oliver. We looked at those stories and we said, man, we have a secret sauce to the best life possible. So we did leave. We left with a clear MRI. We left with a clear EEG. We left with all medications off. We left with his cranial shape. He cheated. We got to work right away. We left it with his cranial shape perfect. And we left with doctors refusing to listen, even though my nerd brain, because we can shift the nerd words in a second. So I wasn't communicating this just through emotion. I was communicating this through academic neurology. And we left, I'll close it with this. I remember leaving, checking out, and that NICU team of nurses, they were honestly just looking at me like I was a ghost. They're looking it up. They couldn't make sense of it. And that's what we want to do. That's why we're doing this video. That's why we'll do a zillion videos after this. We can make sense of it, not just through stories, but through the science and strategies we took for Oliver and now tens of thousands of Olivers and Silases after that. We can make sense of it and we can turn it into action steps. And so is it surprising? Yeah, in a good way, but no, in a neurological way.
Right. And it's not something we would ever guess at. It's something that we measure, and we'll talk about the science behind that. But know that at the heart of this mission and this purpose is dads, not just doctors. Again, we have the head, we have the hands, we have the tools and the resources. But when you have somebody's heart behind this, we simply won't stop. And we've had a saying in 8 years, we've been texting each other. We're talking about filling stadiums with people of lives that were changed. And that's not stadiums for our attention and our glory, it's stadiums of impact. And the sad reality is that Oliver's story is incredibly unique. And that's awesome for the Ebel family. And I have a story with my own child that's incredibly unique. And while that inspires me and makes me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside, it keeps me up at night, because if it's unique for us, it's the exact opposite for way, way too many people, way too many families that have been told this and settled for this unknowingly. And they're stuck and they're looking for resources. They're just downgrading their expectations to just hopefully have a decent day, maybe a good day out of the week, maybe an okay night of sleep. Maybe they'll go to the bathroom once every 2 days. And we can start settling and downgrading and using the word just, if they could just do this and just do that. And that's not a place that we accept as doctors, but most importantly as dads. And I love that you have that perspective, but I hate that you went through that. But that's a type of fire that's irreplaceable. That doesn't come in books. It doesn't come through speeches. It doesn't even come through science. While the science is uplifting, when you've lived it as a dad, that transforms you to a different place. And that's why you see this fire in this video. So I can't wait for you to unpack the story about Levi. I know you had the t-shirt and the sweatshirt, and he's got a lot of attention, but I'll share one. This conversation is about our neuro-intensive reset. And Dr. Tony's been talking about this neuro-intensive program for years, and you had to put that bow on it and find those exact plan, because these kids are unique. Like I said, we help so many kids with colic and constipation. We do help people with headaches and migraines and anxiety. But when we're talking about this neuro-intensive program, this is the unique. This is the hopeless, or maybe just a little bit of hope. This is the downgraded of expectations, the maybe they'll have an okay day type of crowd. And one of those actually came to our practice through Dr. Tony. And I loved it. It was one of the funnest phone calls I've ever had. I was able to chat with this mom, and she's like, I'm so excited that you're less than 3 hours away. Some people, like, you're 3 minutes away, like,
oh, so true.
She was ready to pack it up and go 13 hours because
you're
noisier than I am. You have a bigger global, like a social media impact. And she just didn't know we were on the other side of the state here, but she called and she got that hope, but she also got an action plan. And the first step was call us. And she drove her way out here. But let me tell you a little about this little girl, Hannah. She was just here. To call it colic or a digestive issue would be the grossest understatement of my career. Her colic and reflux and digestive issues were so horrific that she no longer ate, that she was rapidly dropping in weight. And doctors, in their infinite wisdom, and it was the absolute best choice, put out the fire type of thing, they stuck a feeding tube with an indefinite timeline on it. They're just like, we're going to put the feeding tube in her. But it got so bad that she started to develop seizures. And we know that's a neurological issue as well. We know that the digestive system tanking is a neurological issue as well. But what really connected and changed my perspective in this whole story was not at her first visit, because she didn't even bring this up. It was after 2 visits with us. And she was talking about, yes, she was gaining weight with the feeding tubes, but something she had forgot to mention, that the anxiety, the stress, the aversion to anything food related was so overwhelming for this baby that not only did she not put food in her mouth or a bottle in her mouth or breasts in her mouth, mama couldn't touch her cheeks. Mom couldn't kiss her cheeks. And as a doctor, I can explain the exact neurological pathways as to why that happens. But as a dad, no, I can't explain that because it breaks my heart. And what I love, we can fast forward to the really cool part. Again, she's got a lot of care and a big long road in front of her, but mama is kissing the heck out of those cheeks. Yeah. She's pulling food into her mouth. And I'm already claiming it, that feeding tube's going away, not because it's my opinion or I don't want it there. It needs to be there right now. But her body, Hannah's body and brain has a chance to heal. And again, we can manage and try and navigate around these symptoms for a lifetime. And there's a purpose for that. And sometimes it's necessary for a season, but a lifetime of navigating system is a lifetime of illness, a lifetime of disconnect, a lifetime of lost affection and connection. That's what fires us up. And again, it's the stories, it's the emotions, it's the heart behind these stories that fire us up. It's why I do what I do. And we got another kid that's having, dozens and dozens of seizures daily. He's going to be coming in again, driving 3 hours to come here, but they will do that in a heartbeat. The mom that with the child with seizure, she's like, man, we spent a couple of weeks in Minnesota. I can easily come over here. So again, there is a distance to be traveled, and there's a distance to be traveled, not just to get to an office, but to heal. But that opportunity is there, and it begins with hope. But hope is just the last drop of gas in a tank that's been empty for maybe a decade. And we're here to fill that tank, but also give you the blueprint and the GPS to get to a destination. So tell us about Levi, because that's what's like, we were here, we've been talking about this neurointensive program. You had it was like, and God was like, dude, get it going. So tell us a little bit about Levi, or a lot of it about Levi, and then this neurointensive program that resets these childs, not just to hope, but to potential and a destination.
Yeah. Oh man, there's such a funny, simple, silly, stupid part of the story that kind of kicks it off with the 2-week neuro and the Perfect Storm intensives. And it's another story again about another of my kiddos that, again, God has called us, and he's crafting us through a challenge with Addison. And I'm going to just short circuit that one, but we're actually in Minnesota, right? And I'm getting some amazing care from a different specialty of chiropractic, because Addison's taking on this thing and kicking its butt. And it's not in the neuro world per se, but she's just doing great, right? And it's been a big thing for our family. And I'm sitting there in this hotel, and my baby girl's going through it, and she's kicking butt, and I'm praying on it. I'm like, all right, I know why we're here, but I feel like, God, you're telling me there's a little bit that you haven't emailed me. There's an attachment I haven't, downloaded yet, right? So if you could I think you forgot an attachment. Please send me that email right now. I'm on my laptop. It'd be convenient. And he did. And it was the idea, for these Perfect Storm intensives, that we could not just train all the chiropractors and have the Trinities and the PWCs. We knew we needed more of them, period, to literally have people in 3 hours and then 30 minutes and then 3 minutes. That's the vision. But we also know that those of us that have been at it the longest needed to open up our doors for this. So the silly part is I was like, I mapped it all out. And then I was like, next summer. That's a good time. Nobody wants to come to winter.
Right?
Yeah.
This isn't hypothetical. Written out, ready to go. Sent to my team, and they're like, that sounds great. When do you want to do it? And I was like, well, it gets cold here in the winter. We don't want people to be chilly during their life-saving care. Stupid, right? So I had it literally hidden away in a Google document until Levi comes across our radar. And Levi, I love what you've been talking about this whole time. And the reason we really want to do this video is to not just share stories in the hope, but the action. So this is an action story. And there's more than 3, but I'm going to highlight the 3 layers of action, because it involves all of us. It involves you listening, mom and dad, and it involves our job, our calling, what we need to do with our actions. So first and foremost, after the injury, after what Levi went through, a traumatic brain injury, and just one of the stories as parents we never want, but they occur. They're there. And so what Levi's family, Megan and Scott, have done is they took massive action. They are going through the world looking for help in Wake Up. That's their hashtag. Wake Up Levi. His sister Lainey made a pretty much full recovery, doing great. Levi still stuck in the storm, right? They were both involved in the accident. So the first thing it takes is a Megan and a Scott, which is you, to never stop scrolling, never stop sharing, never stop. Just keep searching, keep scrolling. You'll find what you need. We're going to come back and we're going to help you not only find it, but narrow it. Okay. There's a key to that we'll hang on to. The second, so that was their action. Yeah. The first action. The second action that needed to be taken, honestly, and it was on me. It was on us. I had heard of their story. One of our patients reached out, Perfect Storm, Rockstar Mom, their kiddo got through some anxiety. So she's just an advocate. She shared it with me, and I could have opened up that text and I could have done what all the other chiropractors, I could have prayed. And I did, by the way, we did pray. My family prayed. Oliver's like my greatest prayer warrior ever, right? Because he's like, been there, done that. Let's help these kids out. But I didn't stop there. And I'm not minimizing that, especially, my goodness. But I
took the action of grabbing my phone, putting it in front of my face and sending them a 3-minute video. Because in today's world, we can connect. Strangers can connect in a matter of digital seconds. And I want to highlight that because I bet you too, Dr. Jason, I bet you a lot of chiropractic, I bet you a lot of our profession is going to watch this too. Since we've been blessed to take care of Levi, and then we'll go into the intensives, a lot of people reached out to me. A couple were in person that I ended up seeing at an event. And then this one, they're like, oh, I live in the neighborhood. Oh, I'm in Levi's. Oh, so is what rhymes with oh. Yeah. So what? What have you done to help him? Did you call? Did you reach out? Did you call the family? Did you connect? Y'all, you need practitioners who are not going to sit in their practice with their stupid diploma. I don't even know what wall our diplomas are on. I don't care. You need practitioners who will take action to come to you. We're doing that right now. God, and I mean it. Dear Lord, pray with us. I hope we reach you and your family through action. And then where it goes, we can work on this together. Now there's neurological action. Now you can't just say, hey, I'm praying. Hey, chiropractic. Hey, come here. Hey, come here. We're going to help. Here's how. So that's our favorite little acronym, right? Just, it's like, we got you. Okay. We hear you. We see you. We got you. We get you. Here's how. Okay. And you know, we have empathy. We do have the authority because we have the experience. We have the science. But most importantly, we have the action. So what the Perfect Storm intensive reset and restoration programs are, is these kids are so stuck in the storm. Their sympathetic dominance, their autonomic disarray and dysautonomia is so buried in. It's Hannah, right? It was her nervous system that shut down her digestive system, her sensory system, her growth system, right? So what we do with pediatric neurologically focused chiropractic is something no one else can do. Right. It's not necessarily that they don't know about it. Many don't, but even if they did, what could they do? Well, you have to actually get to the center. You have to start the healing hierarchy and journey in the central and autonomic nervous system because it controls the gut. It controls absorption. It controls immune function. It controls endocrine function. So we love ourselves some probiotics and some primitive reflexes and some hyperbaric oxygenation and lasers. We love them, but they have to come after the reset.
At the table. Yeah, there's so many pieces to the puzzle when it comes to our health and our wellness, which is a buzzword. Of course, there's physical, there's chemical, there's emotional, nutritional, hormonal, but these puzzle pieces are sitting on a table. Yeah. And I remember putting puzzles together with my grandmother. And if you tried to do it in your lap, it just kept falling apart. And that falling apart is what dwindles our hope, and it dwindles our outcomes, and it dwindles our potential because we don't have that foundational piece. And that's where a lot of these kids are stuck. And how do they even get there? Yeah, there's physical stressors. There's birth interventions that are absolutely necessary. A birth intervention saved my son's life.
Yes. But
it also led to plagiocephaly, torticollis, eye tracking issues, neurological disconnect. It was the solution to a challenge, but it created another one. And again, when we look back at these histories, whether it's traumatic injuries or birth interventions or God, we don't know what it is. It's not to look back with regret.
Nope.
It's to look back with clarity so that we can create a path forward. But it all begins with a nervous system. You're not going to get there. Again, these outside in strategies, thank God for them. They work. I utilize some of them in my own life, but I have to set the table for this. So yeah, obviously with Levi, his brain and neurology was overwhelmed. Nobody would guess why. It happens. Horrible things happen. Physical, chemical, and emotional things can happen to people. The stories I've heard over the last 15 years of doing this, it's like, oh my gosh. But the nervous system is what has to adapt and heal to that. So that's the source we go to. That's the science we bring to this conversation. And it's not something we guess at. How do you measure that? How do you measure that overwhelm with certainty rather than just assuming? Because every kid's different. You look at Levi and his sister, same exact trauma, same exact moment, same exact genetics. They're twins, right? Yeah. So it's like one's healing exponentially faster and one was stuck. Like, how do you know the difference between those? What are you using to measure that?
The key is there's actually two features to it. First, it's the case history. I want to share this with the families that are listening to this, and in the best of way. If you see the frame we're coming from here, in the best of way, this is going to give you an aha moment that you're going to shake your head, you're going to be shook in, and then I hope it shakes you into action. Okay, 12 out of 12. I have now taken. We're scheduling all the way through the summer. We have taken 12 perfect storm intensive. So these are kids with drowning accidents and choking accidents and anaphylactic accidents, and 12 for 12 already through the case history, what we call the perfect storm. We've kind of nicknamed it CSI, the clues, the puzzle pieces.
Right.
We dig deeper. Okay. Like we don't stop at the gut. We go to what controls the gut, which is the nervous system. 12 for 12 of these kids had sympathetic subluxation storm happening first. So
Really?
what it did, and you can watch one of our perfect storms to really get the whole science, it limited their ability to adapt to the accident and come out and heal on the other side. So the first stop is you got to get a PX, a PS, perfect storm pediatric chiropractor who knows to dive further. And then that's good. It's great that we get the data, we get the clues. I love that. You get the clarity. That's the perfect way. We only have to do it once, right? It's like our favorite / least favorite part of our job. Dive, get in the DeLorean, go backwards, find with clarity what's up, what's not. Then we use technology. Right. Speaking of the flux capacitor, right? And then we use the Insight scans. And this is what sets this kind of chiropractic apart from everything else. Because you move from even the case history, I don't want to call it, it's an experienced, educated understanding more than a guess, but we don't guess, we test. We can measure and assess the nervous system. And what the Insight scans allow us to do in our offices is 3 things. Number 1, find if it's there. Find if this neurological storm, this subluxation, this sympathetic dominance is the story. Number 2, if it's there, 2 and 3 come from that. Number 2 is we're able to quantify it. We're able to tell the severity of what we're dealing with. Now that quantification is crucial because we need to be able to match the depth of the stress with the depth of care. It's not our favorite word because we're helping kids get off of these, but it's a dosage conversation. And then the third thing that the scans allow us to do is locate it. We're able to find really, with absolute clarity and technology, where the worst of the worst, where the most troublemaking, chaos ensuing subluxations are. And now from that, we've got our blueprint, we've got our plan. So the perfect storm reset and restorations, what's crucial is we know that these kiddos have such depth of this stress. So we actually care for them twice a day. It's this, and we can kind of put the bow on the plan part of it with this. It's the perfect algorithm to be able to do a lot and a little at the same time. Because you can't do too much. This is why so many families, you're doing all the things and nothing's happening because the body has to heal in stages and steps. And a lot of times the first steps have to be small, just like your baby. And they have to go through those. So we do twice a day adjustments so that we don't overwhelm them, but that we can stack that up and see that neurological momentum in with what we're seeing with Levi, what you're seeing with Hannah. I mean, it doesn't blow my mind because I'm like looking at the science and I'm like, what? That's happening? It's just amazing.
I know. And I'm never surprised, but I'm always excited. Yeah.
Yes.
There's nobody more impatient than me with healing because I get a front row seat to the Hannahs.
True.
Not just for a visit, but for all the visits and the decades that we've been doing this. And the miracle is there. It's locked in. There's not a pill. There's not a supplement. There's not an oil. Again, these outside-in strategies can help, kind of calm our environment. But what if the internal environment is overwhelmed? And we're basically pumping the brakes, recalming, reconnecting that nervous system so that Levi's brain, so that Hannah's brain, so that your child's brain can heal itself. There's no better pharmacy. There's no better blueprint. There's no better plan. It's not our plan. It's Levi's plan. It's Hannah's plan. It's unlocking that potential that was never gone. It just got locked in somewhere. And it's about reconnecting that and measuring their progress every single step of the way. So yeah, for the parents watching this video, if I can be so bold, we're talking to everybody, but I want to talk directly to those moms and to those dads that have just kind of barely held on to that hope, that their tank is empty. Yes, there's hope, but let's not stay there. Reach out. And one of the biggest challenges Dr. Tony and I have, and it's one we're tackling daily, is how do we serve you? How do we connect with you? And we're making it as easy as possible to get here. I've talked with hotel managers, local restaurants. We are making it easier to get here. Stay at a hotel if you have to. But we're not the only 2 doctors doing this. And one of our biggest passions and purposes is not just to serve these kids, but to serve our profession so that they can serve you. So there is a way that you can connect with us. Just pick up a phone. You can talk to me, you can talk to my wife, you can talk to our team. Every one of us is leaning in on the edge of our seat to connect with these parents. And if I'm not the right doctor, the right location, I will personally find someone. Dr. Tony's team is phones ringing off the hook. It's like one of those Jerry Lewis telethons.
It is, man.
And I'm like, send them my way. Like, I will take the calls. Let me take some of this weight off you, because you guys are so busy serving these kids, and we're ramping up. I've expanded my hours.
Yep.
I have 5 boys of my own, and one of the highest ideals of my life is freedom and balance. But we've expanded our hours so that we can get those 2 a days. I've hired an additional doc that's a passion focus and so skilled to do this.
Yes.
Again, I don't want to badmouth or dilute other chiropractors, but yeah, if my child had a cardiac issue, I'm going to find the best pediatric cardiologist on the planet. It doesn't mean I think other cardiologists are stupid. It's because I want the absolute best focused, neurologically focused care that my child needs for that challenge. And this is a focus group. This is a challenge group. This is a unique group. But again, I want you to join that side of our unique stories, a unique story of healing, to the point we tip that curve, and it's not unique anymore. It's the potential that's in every single one of these kids. It's Levi's story as it continues to evolve. And oh my gosh, yeah, just tap into that. She's sharing like no other mom I've ever seen before about his journey and his progress. It's the Hannahs, it's the Levi's, it's the Graylands, it's the Joeys that I'm taking care of. It's your kid. It's our kid, it's my kid. And as a doctor, but most importantly, as a dad, I know that hope and that future and that plan is right in front of you. Take action. Don't stay stuck in hope. And I'm going to let Dr. Tony close this out, because he is the mastermind, but he's also the master heart behind all of this. And we are here to serve you. And again, we'll leave our contact information below, but don't stay stuck in hope.
Yeah.
Reach out. We will help, and we will find that solution and that path forward for your child's future that you might have given up on a while ago. And don't beat yourself up for that. We've all been there, but we want to take you to that better there. And that better there is as soon as you reach out to us.
Yeah. Call, we're young and old at the same time, this crew, right? So you can pick up the phone and you can talk to some of the amazing humans on our teams or teams like ours, or you can send us, what do they call the old DM? You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can send us an email. The number one thing you need to do is just to reach out. And we really do love that we're about to unleash our whole directory. We're going to have a beautiful website called findakidchiro.com. We call it the pediatric experience. We want you to have the best experience possible with your child through the best pediatric chiropractors possible, guiding you and adjusting you truly to get there. So we'll have all that. There's links, there's website, there's videos, there's all that. But the best, most important thing to do, everybody on our team, again, like we did here today and do with everything we do, they have the answers and the steps and the schedules, but they got the heart. And you know what? When you're hanging on to that last string, sometimes you just need to talk to someone. So that's why we ask that you do reach out. And we're expanding our teams, we're expanding our hours, we're expanding our possibilities from our team and the action we can take, so that we can expand the possibilities of where your family, your child can truly be taken and go. So we know that we sparked that for you today, and we know that the action is going to keep it moving forward. We can't wait to connect with you. And even again, if Crystal Lake in Illinois doesn't work, and if Dr. Jason and Dr. McKenzie and the crew in Carolina doesn't work, don't worry. We got you. We've got our roster. We've got our training. We are in this with you. Reach out. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. And you know what? Our office do have hours, but our purpose don't. We're here for you 24/7. If you call here and I'm not here, forwards right to my cell phone. And I know PWC is exactly the same. We're here for you. Take that step, take that action step. Yes. Start out with hope, but know that you're going to get a plan and the resources, because this isn't just what we do. It's who we are. So thank you so much, Dr. Tony, for being on this. I can't wait for this just to be a starting point to story after story after story of healing. And not just hope, but healing and a path forward for these kids that deserve that chance and that future. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys and hopefully talk to you really soon. Bye, guys.